Good day, Star Wars fanatics. The Book of Boba Fett trailer has been finally released. We got a small glimpse of what's to come in the upcoming series. If you're new to the Star Wars universe, Boba Fett, or Mandalorian lore, there are some things you should know before watching the Book of Boba Fett. I'd hate for anyone to go into the show without understanding the significance of certain themes and elements, including those of Boba Fett himself. From his beginnings as a clone to his training through his father and with other bounty hunters afterwards. So, before you watch the Book of Boba Fett, here are some things you need to know today on Star Wars Fanatic. Before I get started, if you're new here, go on and hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all my Boba Fett, Mandalorian, and Star Wars lore. Once I hit 5,000 subscribers, I will be uploading a video that will be the finale of the Jango Fett series I've been working on, and the beginning of a Boba Fett fanfiction series. So hit the subscribe button and share the video. We can get there together, and I only need 97 more subscribers to make it happen. Now, on with today's video. The Book of Boba Fett will be the latest Star Wars project to hit Disney Plus on December 29th. There are many more to come, but this is the one I am most excited for. I've been a fan of Boba Fett since his live-action debut in The Empire Strikes Back in 1980. He was like no character we had ever seen in Star Wars or any other franchise. He was mysterious, wore cool kick-ass armor, and didn't fear Darth Vader the way we had seen others fear him up to that point. And it seemed Darth Vader tolerated his attitude. But with the mystery that surrounded Boba Fett, there was still so much we wanted to know. Since that time, we begged for an expansion to his character. Then, Return of the Jedi came, and we watched our favorite bounty hunter lose focus and get bumped into the giant spiky butt mouth thing called the Sarlacc by a blind, unaware Han Solo. Disappointing. Many Star Wars fans use this as a way to discredit Boba Fett, yet his reputation stood as the most successful and feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. Recently, I've made some fanfictions as to why Boba Fett was easily defeated. I'll link them at the end of this video and in the description. But since Return of the Jedi, many authors wrote stories of Boba Fett's survival and how he would become so much more than Bantha fodder. If you don't know what that is, it means Bantha poop. It was once again a joyous time to be a Boba Fett fan. Yet, those stories were deemed legends when Disney bought the Star Wars franchise. Legends means it is no longer part of the official story. But now we get live-action Boba Fett to make up for what we have lost in the past. And that comes in the form of the Book of Boba Fett, and even the Mandalorian series to an extent. With the complicated history of Boba Fett and Mandalorians in general, this is what you should know before watching the Book of Boba Fett. If you've seen Star Wars, you know of Boba Fett's demise at the Sarlacc pit on Tatooine, so I won't harp on that too much. But let's go back a little ways before Boba Fett's birth. Jango Fett was the galaxy's best bounty hunter in the time just before the Clone Wars. He was a displaced Mandalorian who had just freed himself from slavery when he was approached to be the DNA template for the future clones of the Grand Army of the Republic. He asked for a substantial amount of money plus one unaltered clone of himself to raise as his son as payment. It's now known that his cloned son was given the name Alpha by the Kaminoan cloners, but his name was changed, and he is now known as Boba Fett. The actor that played Jango Fett, Boba Fett's father, was Temuera Morrison, the same actor that played a whole host of clones in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. It only made sense to have the same actor portray Boba Fett in the new live-action series. As a youth, Boba Fett was played by a young Daniel Logan in Attack of the Clones and voiced by the same actor for the Clone Wars animated series. It isn't really important to know all that unless there will be a flashback with Daniel Logan in the iconic Boba Fett armor. Okay, moving on. When Boba Fett was around 10 years old, his father was killed by the Jedi Master Mace Windu in the first battle of the Clone Wars on Geonosis. After that, Boba swore vengeance to kill Mace Windu for the action. He nearly succeeded with the help of some bounty hunter mentors he was tagging along with. But the plan failed, and it landed Boba in prison. When he escaped prison, he began making a name for himself as a deadly bounty hunter, and that was at around age 13. Just before the Clone Wars ended, Boba Fett went off the grid and was unable to be reached. At the end of the Clone Wars, it was revealed that Boba Fett had a clone sister named Omega. She is unaware of whom her brother is, and that story's still playing out in the Bad Batch series. It's going to be an interesting one to see where that one goes. The next time we see Boba Fett in official story continuity isn't until just after A New Hope, when Boba Fett was hired by Darth Vader to find the young pilot who destroyed the first Death Star. Boba Fett succeeded, but was unable to catch the young Jedi named Luke Skywalker. But he was able to return to Darth Vader, revealing the last name of the boy, Skywalker. So it was Boba Fett who informed Darth Vader that Anakin Skywalker had a son, and it set Darth Vader on his quest to find the boy. I'm not sure how much of this is relevant to the Book of Boba Fett yet, but I'm sure some of these elements will come into play at some point. But what is important is Boba Fett's heritage. As I mentioned, Jango Fett was a displaced Mandalorian. He wasn't just any Mandalorian, he was a foundling like Din Djarin, or Mando if that's what you know him by. He was raised by a man named Jaster Mareel, after Jango's birth father and mother were killed by another Mandalorian organization called Death Watch. Jango quickly became a trusted leader in the organization and would eventually be the Mandalorian leader, or Mand'alor. But it wasn't long before the Civil War was about to draw to an end, and Death Watch tricked Jedi into aiding them and wiping out all of Jango's men, and turning him over to a spice slavery. This is all important to understand how Boba Fett was raised and some of his motives. Don't worry, I'm getting to the most important parts of what you need to know before you watch the Book of Boba Fett. Mandalorians have different clans, and in those clans there are different variations of a Mandalorian creed, but there is one creed that all Mandalorians, or most, seem to adhere to. That creed is called the Rezulnari. I won't go into too much description on this creed, but I will link it in the description as well. But this creed is a strict guideline as to the important things in a Mandalorian's life, culture, and society, including leadership and family. This creed would have been taught to Boba Fett as a child by his father, Jango Fett. If there's any question of that, look how he regards his father's armor in The Mandalorian Season 2 and his ship in War of the Bounty Hunters comics. Now, let's get to the trailer for the Book of Boba Fett. It's intentionally misleading. The show has been deemed The Mandalorian Season 2.5. That means it will hold elements of the Mandalorian series. In the trailer, we don't see any of those elements for a reason. They don't want to reveal too much too soon. But I won't get too much into that. I made a couple videos of the Book of Boba Fett trailer breakdown. You can check those out. With everything I've talked about, it seems like just a little vague backstory. But these are things to keep your eye on when watching the Book of Boba Fett. If it seems Boba Fett isn't as kill-hungry as other bounty hunters or crime syndicates, it's important to know the codes he follows, the Rezulnari, meant for Mandalorians, or at least a broader audience of Mandalorians, and the Bounty Hunter Code, which says not to kill unless necessary, and not to harm innocents. And if you don't know much about Boba Fett, this will help you understand when he makes the switch from crime boss to Mandalorian legend. Sure, he doesn't self-identify as a Mandalorian at the moment, but he will understand his heritage and the important part he plays in the survival of the Mandalorian culture. There are those who hate the fact that Boba Fett even still exists, but they are a loud minority. The fact that Boba Fett is coming back to live action is a prayer answered for those of us that know the legend stories of what a great Mandalorian he becomes, and even takes on his father's title of Mandalor, or leader of all the Mandalorian clans. I'm not saying that this is going to happen for sure. I don't have insiders that some Star Wars YouTubers claim to have, and I only go by instinct and the story that would make most sense to fans of the most infamous bounty hunter in the galaxy. So remember, these are the things you should know about the Book of Boba Fett before you watch it. This knowledge will help you greatly when different elements and themes of the culture and Boba Fett's own history arise. Is there anything else you would like to know about Boba Fett or Mandalorians that you'd like me to make a video on? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to respond to all of them. If you're new here, go on and hit the subscribe button to join the growing legion of Star Wars fanatics. I upload 3 to 5 times a week, and I do a live stream on Saturdays as a way of getting to know you and you getting to know me. Remember, when I hit 5,000 subscribers, I'll be uploading a director's cut finale to my Jango Fett fanfiction series as a way to kick off a Boba Fett fan fiction series. So, subscribe to the channel and like and share the video. Let's get the message out there that this is the best source for Boba Fett and Mandalorian content outside of Lucasfilm. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.